Welcome, welcome. This is going to be a very interesting episode. What we're going to talk about today, relatively quickly, is how CNN is now endorsing our strategy to achieve Calexit legally. That's right, the strategy that we at Yes California pioneered and put out there in the media, and talking to conservatives that we could convince Republicans to vote us off the island, was repeated by CNN this week when they said it was a plausible scenario for California to secede. Very pleased to see that CNN is backing up and repeating something that we said a long time ago. CNN said that, hey, if Republicans take over the House and the Senate, Californians could approach them and say, why don't you vote us out? Then we could accept them voting us out through a simple majority and we could legally secede. That's what CNN said in November 7th, 2022. What's interesting is that we pointed that idea out in 2019, 3 years ago, in Oregon Live. So that's our idea. And now CNN's backing up and saying it's a reasonable idea. We never had any liberal organization back us up that our strategy to achieve legal, peaceful secession was the right one. Now CNN is literally saying that. Okay, we're going to show you all the evidence and how, yes, California is the only group who could pull off the CNN strategy to secede. We'll explain in just Well, recently, CNN did a documentary on Calexit 2 weeks after Warner Brothers did their documentary on Calexit, where Warner Brothers launched a podcast, and the first episode was California Independence. And then CNN launched a podcast, and the first episode was California Independence, right around the same time Warner Brothers was doing it. Coincidence? I don't know. But in that podcast, they say, well, if Republicans win a congressional majority, the important thing here is that Californians all of a sudden decide they want out, and the Republicans in control start to think that idea sounds good. Let me show you the full thing so you can make an independent decision. Here you go. Republicans win a congressional majority and the White House. Maybe it's Donald Trump 2.0. Maybe it's Ron DeSantis. Maybe it's someone we've never heard of. It doesn't matter. The important thing here is that Californians have all of a sudden decide they want out, and the Republicans control start to think that idea sounds pretty good. Then we skip down to here. California has more electoral votes than any other state, 55, and it has the most congressional representatives, 53, 42 of which are Democrats. So if you're a Republican in a position of power, it becomes a lot easier to maintain that power for a long, long time without those reliable Democratic votes in the way. So as a pure power play, maybe Calexit doesn't sound too bad. Reaching out to Republicans and saying, hey, you control America again. We don't want to be part of this. Allow us to leave, and we will take you up on the offer because we are shocked that Republicans took over American, and we're shocked that Republicans hate California so much that they actually go through the process of a vote. So here's CNN, Chris Cillizza, backing up the strategy that we outlined first and said 3 years ago. And here's the episode. It's November 7th, 2022 is when it came out. So November 7th, 2022, CNN is repeating the talking point that we made here. The chief problem, yes, California faces beyond getting a majority of its state people to back it, is that the federal government would have to allow California to go its own way. An 1869 Supreme Court decision determined that any state joining the Union formed an indissoluble relation and that left no place for reconsideration or revocation, except through revolution or through consent of states. Yes, California conservative independence movements are looking to achieve their goal through that consent of the states phrase via the U.S. constitutional amendment. They hope their joint undertaking will lead Republican majority state legislatures to back a Calexit. The anti-immigration peaceful red state secession insists Republican states of America can become the sovereign states of America, and this would free them of the iron grip of leftists forever. So there's the strategy to work with Republicans to get them to vote us off the island to meet the Texas versus white thing. And that came out here in 2019 in Oregon Live. So here's the Oregon Live article talking about it. And Here's the CNN article repeating the same thing. So we're very pleased to see that CNN has picked up our strategy that we outlined a while back. But there's a couple other things you should know. We believe this is the right strategy. We're glad CNN backed this strategy and said it's a reasonable strategy. We're glad that we were the ones to outline it and highlight it. But a couple things. One, Yes California alone talked to conservatives in the media and attended their meetings and talked directly to their members across America about Texas versus white exists, consent to the states exists, and you can vote us out. We were the only group to talk to conservatives in the media or go to their meetings or meet their members. Yes, California alone also outlined the plan to convince Republicans to vote us out. Nobody in the Calexit movement backed us. No other liberals talked about that. Yes, California alone got the media to report on this plan to convince Republicans to vote us out. No other liberal group or Calexit group talked to conservatives in America or went on conservative media. Yes, California has a long history going back to 2018. And so here's the point. If CNN's right, and you got to reach out to Republicans in order to make Calexit happen, well, we're the only ones that got this in the media that this was a plan, and we have our name attached to it. And we're the only ones to actually create the plan with conservatives that they bought into. And we're the only one to actually talk to conservatives in the media, in person, and at their meetings. Nobody's gone to their meetings. Nobody's gone to the media. Nobody created this plan. Nobody highlighted the plan. Nobody, just us. Which basically means if this strategy CNN is outlining is correct, there's only one group who can do it. Yeah. So, and we completely agree with their strategy, but we're the only ones to do it. Now, let me show you some evidence. Okay. So, Yes California hosted Calexit Congresses where we actually had conservatives from America come on and say, we hate you, California. I'm from X state. Everybody in my state hates California. And definitely the people in my state would be fine with letting you go. We'll see if it goes through. It might not. Okay, it's freezing. Anyways, that was that. Oh, there's another conservative we talked to. See here. Here's another conservative we talked to. Here's another conservative we talked to. That's that same conservative. Part 3, conservatives say, go ahead and get the hell out of California. By the way, we did these in 2019. Yeah, when we got the panel out to talk about this, we were already meeting with conservatives and getting them to say, go ahead and leave. Here's Red State Secession. Red State Secession helped organize January 6th. Now, I had no contact with them at that time. I don't support that, but hardcore conservative group. And we were talking to them in 2019 about you can vote us out and get rid of California. Here's another conservative we talked to in Indiana. 1 second, let's have it pile through. Here's another conservative we talked to. That's another conservative we talked to. 1 second. We're going to go to the next one. Yeah, that's me in the suit. That's another conservative we talked to in another state. And then here's another conservative we talked to. This was CalexitCon 3.0. We did these in October 2019. We talked to multiple conservatives from multiple states, asking them, would you be willing to, get rid of us and kick us off the island? And do people in your state actually secretly love California and they would never vote for California to leave? Or do people in your state actually hate California and be just fine voting it out? All the conservatives said, no, people actually hate you and they would be fine voting you out. Additionally, we wrote for conservative magazines. Here's the Abbeville Institute, a very conservative magazine. saying why genuine California secession is something that would help conservatives. We wrote that article. No other, there's another one. No other liberal group worked with these conservatives to get articles out. This article's been taken down, but Liberty Block is also a conservative website, and they did host the article, Republicans Can Kick California Out of America. That was our plan. So that was 2 separate conservative publications we got our idea into. We also got conservative media or mainstream media to cover this. This is the Oregon Live one. This is mainstream media. It went out across America. Everybody saw this article, and this is what outlined the plan for us to be able to legally secede. We also went to the Abbeville Institute conference. There was 100 people there, and we spoke directly to them about how California secession can strengthen general federalism in America. We did that again in December 20th, 2018. 2018, we were going to Texas, talking to conservatives to say, if you vote California out, which you can under Texas versus white consent of the states, you can have your America. But yeah, let's forget whatever they say and do our own thing. That's not nullification. Nullification is, that's for crazy. Secession's nutbag crazy, right? California, oh yeah, sure. Hey, how do you feel about ignoring federal law on marijuana? 66% said I'm for it. That's not secession or nullification. That's just we want to do what we want to do and not listen to the federal government. Secession and nullification, that's for crazy racists. I'm about smoking marijuana and I want 66%. So those were Southerners, about 100 people from 13 to 20 states laughing along with me as I explained how California was the way to get the America they wanted. So we actually did the traveling. Here's another conservative media. One America News Network is a super conservative one, 2019. And we were talking about how California is working with a group of conservatives to get out of America. So we actually got on another conservative media and talked about that.
I've been through this 1,000 times on this program. The requirements are delineated very clearly in the United States Constitution. No state can add another requirement.
So I explained to them the plan there. So again, got on conservative media, speaking to conservative media. Here's also went on Tucker Carlson 3 different times. And we also talked about how we wanted to get Republicans to vote us out on Tucker Carlson, big time media.
When South Carolina made a secession move and it didn't end well, is it going to end better for California, do you think? Yeah, because we're fundamentally trying for secession from America for fundamentally different reasons.
And so we have the pedigree. Nobody has gone out and talked to conservatives. Nobody's had conservatives from multiple states come and do conferences with us. Nobody's gone to conservative states and talked to them. Nobody's printed articles in conservative media. Nobody's gone on conservative television and put this out. And I just showed you we did all of that. And literally no one else in Calexit and no other liberal group would talk to these people at all. So if there's any chance of convincing Republicans to vote us out, you got 1 people who've done the work, period. But let me show you a couple more things. We also pointed out that, America hates California and would be happy to see us go. So this is an article we wrote. Sean Spicer, 2019, worked for Trump, said, why don't we get rid of San Francisco and for Greenland? Arthur Schwartz also worked for Trump in 2019. He said they can have all of California. Wayne Allen Root also worked for Trump, said adios, California nation should wave goodbye. Steve Bannon also worked for Trump. California will secede in 2017. And Trump also had a Republican Party convention where it's all about how California sucks. These are the people that we worked with. We met contacts in North Carolina, New Jersey, Mississippi, Louisiana, Colorado, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, South Dakota, Missouri, Minnesota, Nevada, Maryland, New Mexico, Nebraska, and Kentucky, who all wrote op-eds. They would rather see California leave. We reached out to those people, including Dakota Exit, Palmetto State Independence, Liberty Block, New Hampshire Exit, Downstate Illinois Secession, Liberty Block Wyoming, Red State Secession, Arizona Secession, representatives in Oklahoma, Red Pennsylvania, and Red New York. These are some of the graphics we made for that campaign to when we were trying to reach out to conservatives to tell them to vote us out. So that's one. Here's another article we published early on. This was a press release. We were trying to get, this is how we got in the media talking about, here's these conservative groups are teaming up with Progressive California in order to push Texas versus White and consent to the states. California leaving would prove the point. That is my goal for California to secede. Mike from Palmetto State Independence said, we all know America's not working anymore and it's not going to get better. So we all need to talk about reducing the pressure by allowing peaceful nullification and secession. Elliot Axelman of Liberty Block says, not everyone in America is just like you. And here's a lot of the people who've already been talking about how California should leave. And we were the only group to point this out. Like there's a lot of people. So John Stossel, Wayne Allen Root, Graham Ledger, Michael Malice, Justin Murray, Dr. Tom Woods, Colonel Kurt Schlichter, Daniel J. Mitchell, Daniel Horowitz, Jesse Kelly, and Timothy Phelan have all talked about how California should secede. They think America would be great if California secede. So we picked up on the order conservatives pushing for this. The number one reason we don't have more support for California independence is that Californians believe red states would never let them leave, meaning we could not achieve secession. Calexit aims to prove to fellow Californians are wrong about that. That was our whole point. Here's some of the groups. They pushed that. There's the quirky state Republican article. So this is the media article that we got because of this press release that Yes California issued with these other groups. We also laid out the plan on how Republicans could step by step vote California out. And if they did, Californians would react in shock and would accept the idea because it would prove that America doesn't like California. And if you had a majority of America say, we want to vote you out, just the shock of that vote happening and that it actually happened would shock the hell out of Californians and disgust them and make them realize that they need to leave. So we pointed all that out and laid out this plan and put all the data together. Let's see if they have this here. One of these had... Well, we had some great graphics on the Trump Republican Party. So when Trump was president, he held a Republican Party national convention, and the whole thing was about how California is the opposite of America and horrible. So when you look at the Republican Party held an entire convention on how California is horrible, and there were multiple Trump officials talking about let's get California to go. And Trump colleagues are going to come back into power right now. And we had the reputation working with all these people. It kind of proves the point. Give me 1 second here. Okay, well, I'm trying to find the reference, but anyways, they did have a Republican National Convention when Trump was president, and the whole thing was focused on how California, one state, was horrible. There's never been a political party to have their national convention focused on one state sucks. So you already have that. You already have a bunch of Trump officials and a bunch of conservatives saying, let's get rid of California. And then you have Yes California reaching out to conservatives, going on conservative media, interviewing them, getting this idea across to them and getting it into the media. So if Republicans, Trumpians come back in power, we could push the CNN plan for Calexit. We reach out to conservatives. We ask them to vote us out. Californians are shocked that they would even do it, and out of disgust, accept it, and that would be legal to secede that way. Totally back to CNN plan. Wanted to point out that we've done the research and the work, and nobody else has, so we're basically the only people who could pull it off from here. Viva Calexit.